Good morning, everyone. Hello, welcome to another, excuse me, I had to run here. I was a bit late with the traffic. Hello, and welcome to another Wednesday class. Let us know where you're coming from. We have Dinah in the chat. There's James, hello. And anybody else? From wherever you're coming from and from whatever time of day it is, I hope you have another lovely Wednesday class. Here we go, we've got lots of people coming in. Jackie, Liz, Anne, hello. Lovely to see you all. So, today we're going to play with a couple of different points, and they're going to be on the CVGV channels, and we're going to link them to a chakra as well. So we're going to be working in a slightly different way today, but hopefully with lots of fun still. So before we get going, as usual, I'd love to start us off with a sense of getting the sort of group quality connected. So thank you very much for saying good morning, everyone, or hello from where you're from. If you take a moment, sitting or standing, let's just take our attention inside for a moment. Letting yourself settle. I need to do that. And then get a sense of the group, the class, the people that we are as a nice circle, whether you're here live in this moment or whether you are watching later. We're all as a group together in this space. And just have a sense of that connectedness and that appreciation. Thank you for being here. Okay. And you can come back out. Pardon me. So, we're going to do the usual thing, do a scan, and we'll check in with the 3 burners. We'll do some polls. And then we'll get started. So if you'd like to stand up or stay seated, it is fine both ways. And bring your attention to the top of your head. You can even touch it if you want to. How is the top of the head, the skull, the cranium? How is the front, sides, back of the head? Scan through the face, sense organs, jaw muscles, sinuses, and through the neck, back of the neck, sides and throat. Taking time to really notice how your head, neck, face is doing. And then bring the attention into the shoulders. You can move any of these bits about if you want to. Just noticing if anything is catching your attention. And then travel down the arms, upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, wiggle the fingers. Those intricate bones and tendons through the hands and fingers. How are the arms and shoulders as a whole? And then coming back up where the neck meets the chest. And scan down through the chest and upper back and rib cage. Through the rest of the torso, the abdomen, belly, lower back. Anywhere that catches your attention. Through the pelvis, hips, buttocks. Through the thighs, longest bones and muscles around here. Knees, lovely big knee joint. And what about the lower leg, calf muscles, shin bones, ankles, and then again, intricate bones and tendons of the feet and toes. And meeting the floor. And then we've scanned through the whole body. Let's just get a whole picture. So just the whole of the body. How's that? Anywhere that's drawing your attention. Okay. We're going to check in with one more thing. Just noticing as you're standing there, is your energy feeling like it is lifting up? Are you more up in the head, shoulders? Do you feel like you're sort of, or are you feeling a bit more heavy and it's more like down, pelvis, legs, feet? Where are you feeling more up, more down, or fairly balanced? Where is generally more emphasis, more energy? So I'm starting to balance automatically, but I can notice there's a bit more up top in general. So that's me. And also, I haven't got my pen and paper. If you've got pen and paper, feel free to make an image of this or write some notes. I don't think I've got pen and paper. No. But we're also going to go into the 3 burners. So the thing that I really noticed, my usual thing, anyone who's been here in a class where I've taught, is my shoulders, and my energy tends to be a bit up. But I've also got a little bit of something across this sort of middle area where the ribs sort of end. Okay, so now we're going to tune in with the 3 burning spaces. As usual, we'll start in the lower burner. So belly button down to pubic bone. So you can place your hands on, or you can just tune into this space of the intestines, the bladder, the kidneys, this lower burning, lower area that produces Qi. What's it like in here? Is there an image? Or a quality or a word? Okay, so we're just going to have that, whatever it was. If you didn't notice anything, if you weren't sure, that's fine. We're going to check back in. We're now going to come to the middle burner from the belly button to the diaphragm, which is just above where the ribs meet. So here's where the ribs meet. So it's just above him. Okay. I'm going to place my hands on. Tune in. What's it like in here? What's the quality like? If you had to describe it, or if it had a sound or a word or a picture. And is it any different from the lower burner? Let's just tune in. Let's just check in. Lower burner was like this, tuning into the lower burner. Middle burner is like this, tuning into the middle burner. Is there any difference? I'm sure there is. There's a lot of difference for me anyway, but I'm sure there's difference for you. And then we're going to come to the upper burner, and that's from the diaphragm to the collarbones. So you can place your hands up here. You can place a hand just in the middle, upper sort of area, whatever's easiest for you. What's it like? Is there a sound or image or any quality? And just to check in, come back to the middle burner, tune into the middle burner. Any difference? What's the middle burner like again? Oh yes, it's like this. Any difference to the upper burner? Quite a lot of difference for me, a lot of difference for me. Okay, so I'd love you to just take a moment to draw an image or write some words or notes. If you have pen and paper, it's really worth doing that. Not only for recognizing at the end of this session whether there's been any change, but if you've done it before, noticing, if you happen to keep them, noticing where you were. It's also a great way of remembering. So let's just run a poll. Which burner do you want to work on most today? And I'm going to get us to tune into the burners again in a minute and work in a slightly different way. So, lovely, lovely. Bit more focus for the lower burner at the moment. There's more and more of you click in on the poll and let us know. Okay, so getting a bit more even. Anyone else want to mark in on the poll? I'll just come back. Yes, all of them, I'm sure, Jane. And we will work on all of them, so no worries about that. It's pretty even. The lower burner, just a little bit more focus. And the other two are pretty even amongst the group of you. So we will work on all the burners. Let's just try something out, though. Okay, so whether you're sitting or standing, we'll just come back to each of the burners in turn, and we're going to work with sound. Now, I'm not sure whether you've done this before or not. We may have done this. I may have done it with you in small, or Cliff may have done some of this with you, but we're going to work with sound. Same sort of thing. Come to the lower burner. So leave the keyboards alone, standing or sitting. Just bringing your attention inside, settling into your lower burner and noticing what the quality is like. And then if that quality was a sound, if there was a sound that represented this quality, what would that sound be like? And although we're not going to be able to audibly hear each other, we're all going to make the sound. Okay, so I'm going to count to 3, and then after 3, make the sound that is representing this lower burner. Okay, so tuning into the quality. What's the quality like in here? And it doesn't have to be perfect, just making a sound. If there was a sound that represented this quality, what would that sound be like? And after 3, we'll make the sound. 1, 2, 3. Something like that. That's what I've got going on in here. Okay, so we're going to do that again. If you're really not sure, that's okay. Just relax and allow a sound to come out just in the moment. So we'll do that one more time with the lower burner, just so we can really get into this. Tuning into that quality. What's that quality like? If it had a sound, what would the sound be like? And it's okay if it's different from the previous sound. And we're going to make the sound in 1, 2, 3. Okay, something along those lines for me. So I'm wanting you all at home to be making as much sound as you can, really letting go into it. Might seem funny at first, and hopefully you're not standing in the middle of the street, so you should be absolutely fine. So we're now going to go on to the next burner, the middle burner. So middle burner from belly button to diaphragm, just again tuning into this space. And it might not be just a regular sound. You might need to really express something, and that's totally great too. So middle burner, tuning into the space. What's that quality like in there? And if that quality had a sound, or if it was represented as sound, what would that be like? And we're going to make that sound after 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, something along those lines for me. One more time. So remember, we're just tuning into the middle burner area. If you need to give yourself a bit of a shake, sometimes that's helpful. Okay. Tuning into the middle burner, your middle burner. Tuning into the quality in your middle burner, what's that like? If that quality in your middle burner had a sound, what would that sound be like? And after 3, I'd like you to make the sound of your middle burner. 1, 2, 3. Something along those lines. It can be quite embarrassing to be making sounds sometimes. Sometimes it's absolutely wonderful. Sometimes it can feel embarrassing. And that's just a natural difficulty that we need to work with. So if you're feeling that, that's okay. That's good, natural, fine. Allow yourself to work through it. Finally, we're coming to the upper burner. So again, diaphragm to collarbones. Tuning into the area. What's that quality like? And if that quality was a sound, what would the sound be like in your upper burner? What's the quality like? What's the sound of that quality? And then after 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a nice one. For me, I really appreciate that. Okay, so one more time, everyone. If you need to, have a little bit of a shakeout. So we're just going to do the upper burner one more time. So this space, tuning into your upper burner. It may be a different sound this time. Who knows? Maybe it's the same, but the quality, what's the quality like right now in your upper burner? And then if that was a sound, what would the sound be like? Okay. And then after 3, I'd like you to make the sound of your upper burner. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So lower burner had a sound, middle burner had a sound, upper burner had a sound. And you'll come to see why we're working with sound in a bit, but how was that for you all? Thank you. I'm interested to hear whether anyone had difficulty making any sound, as well as if there was any sound that had a particular feeling or quality or effect with you. Feel free to share in the chat. Part of the reason why we are working with sound a bit more today is because we are going to be connecting with the throat chakra and voice and the energy of that, as well as with the points of the week that we're going to work with. I'm just going to see if I can find some new slides. So bear with me a second. Aha, I think. Here we go. Oh. Sorry about all of this. Just got to find, hopefully we've got some new slides on here. So, okay, so Kim, you're saying really interesting, really cool. Rumbling in the bottom, zinging in the mid, and wind blowing in the upper. Jackie says lots of gurgling. Fantastic stuff, everyone. So as you can see, the chakras here. Now, the chakras are from the Ayurvedic or the Indian background. And the points, of course, are from the acupuncture and therefore the Taoist and Chinese background, two different systems. They, of course, have the occasional crossover, or at least meeting areas, because they are both about the human body and soul and energy systems. So as you can see here, if you come from the top, Sahasrara is the crown chakra, Ajna is the brow, and Vishuddha is the throat chakra. So this is often about the type of yoga, which the word yoga means unification or unity and coming together. It's basically oneness. It's how to practice getting into oneness. One of the methods for that is using mantra. And the mantra is, of course, sound. And so many cultures have in their origins the beginning of the very creation of reality in the universe came from a sound. And the most classic one that most people know is Om or Aum, which came from the Vedic system. So that's one of the simple classic ones. You'll have things like the breath of God is another way of saying that, or in the beginning there was the word, and things like this. So it's often a lot to do with sound. So sound is a very important energy to connect us instantly with feeling and with being. So it's really worth playing with sound occasionally. So would it be possible to have a download somewhere of this chakra document? I believe we can do that. Yeah, there are lots online. This one doesn't have loads of information, but you could always type in chakras and yogas. I don't know. I'm gonna put my hands up and say I don't know how to create this as a download. I'm terribly sorry. So I'm not going to share any more of that for the moment. However, what we've got here, we're going to work with 2 points. I'm actually going to bring in a third point for us to play with. Okay, so no need to read all this information. No need to read this information on here for the moment. We're going to come back to this in a bit. So I'm going to drop the slides. Ta-da. What I would like us to start with is we're going to start with 2 points, one above the mouth and one below the mouth. And we're just going to get to feel these points and see what quality comes up from them. Just had a couple of things come in. Oh, fantastic, Jane. It's great to have exploring with sound. So hopefully everyone's been appreciating. If there is someone that's not appreciating working with sound, that is okay too. And let us know. And I would always encourage to work through the discomfort, not to get rid of it so much as to recognize it. But if you don't want to, also fine, just don't make the sound. Just internalize what that sound would be like. Now I'm coming a bit closer because I want to point out where these 2 points that we're going to work with first are. So the top one is, if you were to go halfway between the nose and the lip, so there's the nose, there's the lip, halfway between and then up just a tiny bit. So it's just above halfway. And it's in the philtrum, which is this you can't see them. You can't see because of the moustache. Sorry, everyone. You know that bit in the middle? There's like a little, almost like a little track underneath the nose to the lip. Now this, some people call Renjiang and some people call Gui Shu. The groove between nose and lip, yes, the philtrum. It has been described by the Chinese as looking like a water trough, hence it is called water trough. But also, Renjiang, a different name for it. So Gui Shu, is it Gui Shu or Shui Gu? Oh, I've forgotten now. Anyway, one of the names literally translates as water trough, because that's what it looks like. And you're just above halfway. Another way of saying it is man's middle, which is the Renjiang. And man's middle is because you have the GV channel runs all the way up, back, over the top of the head. Ta-da! Actually goes to the roof of the mouth, but this is a great point that is accessible. The other one is the central channel running up the middle here and connecting here and actually into the base of the tongue. But here's the outer point. It's not because of when your nose runs lots with water. I thought that when I was first thinking about the point. I was thinking, is it just because kids always have runny noses running across that point? It's not. It's because the philtrum looks like a water trough. Yeah, we all had that same thought, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to connect this point, which is just half a sun under your lip, and this one, which is just under halfway from the nose to the lip. And this is a meeting point. These two are like a meeting place of the GV channel and the CV channel, the Yang reservoir and the Yin reservoir, and therefore an aspect of meeting of heaven and earth. So first of all, I'd just like you to contact here. So if you bring your finger just under the nose, you're pretty much touching it anyway. And then below the lip before the chin starts to roll out. Okay, so just hold those points. Relax the arms, relax the shoulders, but keep the weight of the arms intending through the fingers so you feel a bit of pressure. And just notice, is it more a sense of local effect in the head and face, in the jaw? Pardon me. Or is it more an effect internally? So instantly that's affecting my digestion, which often happens when my alignment gets brought into attention. Or is it more affecting you on an etheric level, your emotions or mind or soul? So where are you getting a bit of an effect with this? That's an interesting question, Kim. So would there be a major gland in back of this area, hypothalamus or whatever? Well, we are going to be connecting with the throat chakra, and the throat chakra has a connection with the thyroid and parathyroid, which is kind of connected through the throat, which you can connect with via an extension of the lung channel just at the base here. But we're going to come back to that in a minute, so not for the moment. So I want you to just focus on this here. Now, how did that feel connecting to lip and above chin? A bit tender for me. This had more effect connecting up here than this one. But the feeling of both of them together, as you may have noticed, I did a little burp, and that often happens because my digestion gets activated when I become more aligned. So it was bringing my heaven and earth a bit more together, which therefore one of my weak areas is my digestion, so that activated my digestion. So I was aware that it was doing something. So interested to know if it has any effect with anyone else. In the meantime, so it was you found that very calming. That's brilliant, Kim. In the meantime, I had asked you earlier, how were you with your energy? Were you more up or were you more down? Up as in like more energy in the upper body or more energy in the lower body? So I want you to just check in with that, whether you're sitting or standing. Just bring your attention inside. How's that sense of your energy generally? A bit more in the upper or a bit more in the lower? I know we haven't done much of any exercising or anything. Okay, so I noticed before that I had plenty more up here. I've now almost like just in the top got a little bit around the top, still kind of a bit more than needs to be there. Elsewise, it's already a bit calmed down. And that's something that already is helping with this, as well as that thing of connecting inwards and with the alignment. So a fantastic use. I'd like you to know that you can play with that. So if you're feeling a bit lower down, play with whether it feels right to come here more or here more to connect with the more yang quality that's possibly going to lift that yang quality up and therefore balance that weightiness. Or if you're up here a lot more, perhaps here would work nicer to connect with the more yin aspect in the front here to help this be balanced a bit more. See what works for you. Yeah, so as Dinah says, the internal aspect I was talking about, base of the tongue gets opened up when you place the roof of the tongue, the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Anyway, so now we can start playing with the burners. Very briefly, gonna check in again. So lower burner was the one that most wanted to be focused on. So there's belly button, there's pubic bone. Bring your hands on. And in fact, actually, let's just rub the hands together. Just open them up a bit. Oh, hello. These seem to have come up. Hopefully, I'm just going to pop them back down again. I'm not quite sure why those popped up. Okay, so we're opening the hands to bring a bit of Qi into the hands. Almost like gather a bit of Qi and bring it into that lower burner area. And then just circling in the lower burner. And what's right for you? Is it more going to be like cooling, smoothing, calming movements, because there was lots of sort of agitated activity? Or is it that this is a bit needing activation? And so in which case do it a bit more quickly and with a bit more of a sense of bringing energy in to move. So follow what is right for you. Remember that sense of what the lower burner was like. So a few more circles in that lower burner area. For me, I'm bringing a bit more activation in. The sound I made, yes, like Tibetan, was a bit more like, so I'm trying to kind of get that a bit more moving. So you may want to be going slower or faster, what's up? Whatever's right for you. Okay. And feel that warmth building up from the hands moving and from the Qi coming from the hands, as well as that thing of the feet being on the ground, head being in the air. Okay. And let the hands come to a stop in their own time. And then we're going to take some breaths in, sink it down, and then let it settle as we breathe out. And as we breathe out, it's just releasing what we don't need. So we're breathing in to take Qi and air in, freshness in, drop that down with our intention as well as with breath if we can into the lower burner. As we breathe out, only releasing what we don't need, letting the rest settle into place. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take 3 nice breaths. Breathing in. Let that settle into the lower burner. Breathe out what you don't need. You may be able to hear my digestion going. Breathing in. Let it settle. Last time. Let it settle. Okay. So we're just going to do a little bit of tapping. So if you can reach to the sacrum and over the buttocks to the backs of the legs, down the backs of the legs. This is bladder to the little toe, and then into, you can squeeze if you can reach into kidney 1. We'll come back to kidney 1 in a second, but turn the toes out and you're up the inner aspect to the back of the leg, the kidney. Back round. We'll do this another couple of times. Okay, and let's get into kidney 1. So I bring the chair around, as we all know. Actually, I'm going to check. What's the state of my feet like? They're all right. Okay, getting into kidney 1. And is it just like nice light touch for you? Or is it really, really getting in there? Find your level of what's right. Working into kidney 1, you can work all around the sole of the foot. And give it almost like you're kneading dough. You know, see how wobbly you can make the foot. You can pull toes, you can work points in the upper area like liver 3. Yeah, all sorts of lovely points. Okay, give it a bit of tap. Notice how the 2 feet feel. Are they the same? Probably not. Okay, other side. Thank you, Kim. Dirty feet is what I have as I walk barefoot a lot of the time in summer. Nice. It's so nice getting into this kidney 1 point. Never underestimate a good sigh and really let yourself make some noise with it, especially in this session, because the voice is what it's all about. So you can work over the whole foot in general. Find whereabouts, because kidney 1, actually, you know, it's not just one tiny little acupuncture point in any one particular place. It's like really, it's that whole area. You can really get in there, but where exactly in there really feels like, ooh, that's a great spot for me, like right there. I can feel that right into my leg, into my torso, and has that very nice, relaxing yin, deep sigh quality about it. Okay. Wibble, wobble, wibble, wobble. Give it a tap. God, we're already 40 minutes into our session. We've barely even gone through anything except for a lot of banter. Okay, I'm going to move the chair away. So now, let us shake out the legs. Heaven's connection, sinking all the way down through our legs to the ground. And then with the ground's connection, earth connection, through the feet, through that lovely open kidney 1 point, through the open channels in the leg that we've just opened into the lower burner. And now let's just take another couple of breaths into the lower burner. And I'm going to leave it up to you whether you would prefer to think breath coming in from above, or as if you are drawing the breath in below through the legs into the lower burner. Play with that as you wish. I prefer, most of the time, breathing from below. So, taking three nice breaths in as you're ready, breathing in. Into the lower burner, let it settle as you breathe out. Breathing in. Let it settle, breathe out. Breathing in. Let it settle, breathe out. Okay. Was that easier, doing the breathing, after opening the channels and working kidney 1? You see, I felt like it was. Might be different for you, that's fine. So, last time, I'm just going to get us to tune into the lower burner, and we're going to see what the sound is like, if it's any different, and make that sound. So, please just take a moment, bring your attention inwards, down into the lower burner. What's the burner like now? What's your lower burner like now? The quality of that. And if that quality had a sound or was a sound, what's that sound like? Okay, and when you're ready, after 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a lot better than when we started for me. Maybe it's exactly the same for you. Be interesting to hear. Otherwise, give your legs a bit of a shake. Now we're going to move to the middle burner. So just do a little bit of gentle tapping around the ribs. Gentle tapping around the ribs, around the belly, general abdomen, belly area. Pardon me. Oh, there we go. And then just take that into circling. So we're circling the whole of the belly, so from the ribs down to the pelvis. Around the belly button, in a sense. And you're coming up on the right-hand side, across down on the left-hand side. So it's following the intestines, following mainly the large intestine, but all of the intestines, really. Okay. And as I've said before, this would normally be done 81 times. I'm not going to count, we're not going to do it 81 times, but have that sense of how is your belly feeling? How's your digestive system feeling? Does it feel a bit sluggish, maybe bloated, maybe a bit loose, and sort of, in which case, let's pick up the energy, get it moving. Maybe even if it's feeling a bit blocked, nice, speed up. If it's far more tender and feels like it needs softness and nourishing, then move more slowly and just have a quality. Really what's important is the how, not the what, it's the way that's important. So what way is most important or most succinct for you? So I'm somewhere in the middle. I need a little bit of movement, but it is a little bit tender. So I'm going to be soft and gentle and nurturing, in fact. Okay. Now we're going to do the stomach and spleen channels in a minute. Okay. So letting the circles get smaller and smaller around the belly button until whatever movement has been put through the arms just comes to a natural close. Okay, and then let that drop away. So we're going to tap sides of the belly and then come out, outside edge of the front of the legs to the tops of the feet, inner edge of the feet to the inner front of the legs. Belly. And down again. One more time. This is the stomach and the spleen that governs the gut and the digestive juices and quality, the sort of strength of the digestive energy. Okay, let me give your legs a bit of stroke. Okay. And then the other part of the middle burner, which is more about smooth fluid movement, we're going to tap the sides of the body, just all the way down from the armpit to the hip. And then hips. You can use a loose fist if you want to here. Going around the hips and the buttocks. And then outer edge of the leg. And then on top of the big toe, inner edge of the leg. So this is like your trouser seams. Gallbladder and then liver. One last time. Okay, if you need to shake off the legs. Okay, letting yourself settle again. And then let's just tune into the middle burner from belly button to diaphragm or lower rib, sternum area. So tuning into that area. What's that like now? What's the quality like? And if that quality had a sound, what's the sound like? Or how would it be if it was a sound? What's that like? And we're going to make that sound after 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, I've definitely got more that I could get into with that, but I'll do that when I get home. For now, we're going to move on to the upper burner. However, thinking back just briefly, I remember at the beginning that it was a bit more like, so mine has definitely calmed and become more smooth. So that's really interesting. It's good for us to remember and notice these things. Okay, upper burner. Maybe let's just have a moment, take a breath just into the lungs and the upper chest and just sigh that out. Okay, so let's take a breath in. Okay, one more time. Just breathe into the chest. You can feel the lungs, feel the heart. So when you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, just let it all Make an audible sigh from up high to down low. Okay, so breathing in. Okay. So we're going to tap across. Let's think. Let's start with the heart protector. So you may remember, heart protector is kind of like, it's the third intercostal space, so a bit further down on the breast, out to the edge where it meets the shoulder, and then you're down the middle of the arm, down to the middle finger. And if you come over, it's the finger next to the little finger, up the middle of the outer arm. Do that another time. And now let's just do the heart as well. It's just above that in the chest. So on the pectoral muscle, middle of the pectoral muscle, come to the armpit. And then you're in the inner aspect of the arm. Be very light and gentle with the heart. And it comes to the inner little finger. And then the outer little finger. Just below where you were, it's below the middle of the arm. Armpit, inside of the arm, little finger, just below the middle of the back of the arm. And then we're going to do the lung and the large intestine, and they're on the top. So upper pectoral muscle to shoulder, above the middle of the arm to the thumb, and then index finger just above that to come to the shoulder. One more time. Okay, we're going to do this on the other side. So come over to this side. A bit further down the breast, your third intercostal space. But if you just want to think about it, it's like, what to say? Anyway, you can be just around the middle of the pectoral muscle here. Middle of the arm on the inside, middle of the arm on the outside to behind the shoulder. Now we're going to go to the heart, which starts in the chest and the armpit, inside of the arm, inside the little finger, outside the little finger, to just below the middle. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And then for the lung, top of the chest, just above the middle of the arm on the front, and then just above that on the top aspect of the outer arm. Give your arms and chest a bit of a shake off, give it a bit of a shimmy. Okay. And we're going to do some arm swings. So I'm going to turn this way just so you can see. Just going to start by bouncing the legs. Try to be nice and upright. Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. And as Dinah always taught me, imagine that you are connected from heaven by a bungee cord that is just boing, 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 boing. So you've got it from above as well as your legs working from below. And just let your arms swing naturally, using the bounce and the spring to encourage your arms to swing. And then when you've got that going, have a sense of the hands come no higher than shoulder height in front of you, but try to use the bounce and a little bit of intention to swing them behind you. Okay, and then we can point the index finger and the thumb on both hands And then, if you want to, you can play with, I'll turn around this way. Are you going more, oh, I've gone a bit fuzzy, there we go, straight back, or more outwards? See that? So you're going more straight back, or more outwards? What feels right for you? Going at whatever pace you need to. So for me, this is actually feeling a bit nicer today. Might be different on another day. And if you want to, you can play with things like, do you want your hands to be focusing with the thumbs upwards, downwards, more turned inwards, or outwards? You see, many ways to play with this. So you can open your hands out wide if you want to, turn them around in different ways. Okay, we will leave it for now because times are running low. Let your arms just naturally float back down until the movement becomes internal and all that's left is the standing between heaven and earth. Okay. Let's tune in with the upper burner and check in with the sound. So, what's the quality like in the upper burner now? And if that was a sound, what's the sound like? Could be anything. And after 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, interesting. Was it different from before? For me, very different. Still very nice and open. Okay, so we are near the end. I just want to come back briefly to this point, or these 2 points. So as we did before, these points just one above, one just above the mouth, one just below the mouth. So they say a lot of stuff for local things. Nosebleeds, pain around the mouth, but also they will go into fantastic, a much clearer, purer sound. That's fantastic to know, Jane. Thank you. They both go into qualities that are of things like, especially the top one, restoring consciousness, good for seizures, convulsions, infant febrile disease, fainting and revival from that. Things like this. This top one connects with the trigeminal nerve, which comes around the head and into the neck and has a lot to do with sense of consciousness. If you do the page full spread, yes, I'm not sure how to get it more full than it is at the moment. You may be able to make your chat size a bit smaller. I'm not sure. So effects of the Shen, the mind, the spirit. So this is really useful for this to become clearer and calmer. So I just wanted to add that in. So we can just check back in with these 2 points. These 2 points here. And just notice how they're feeling. Any different? No tenderness for me this time. I'm going to get rid of the slide. No tenderness this time. Much easier and clearer, and feels like it's dropping into the system a lot more without having to set off my digestive system because that's already been worked. So that's fantastic. Okay, lastly, because we've come to the end of our session, I'd like us to just check back in with the group connection. So if you just take a moment to settle in with all of the work that we've just done, the points connected, and just notice that sense of the circle, all of us who are live in the moment that this session started and ends, as well as those who are connecting later on. Lovely to be with you all. Lovely to have these Wednesday classes. Thank you all for coming. Have yourself a beautiful day, and we shall see you again soon. And I just have to click and say goodbye.